Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm so thankful and grateful that you're able to join me this evening. And I know that those of you guys that are on have been invited by Linda. You guys have been invited by Cheryl, and I'm not quite sure who else may have invited you, but I'm grateful that you're able to be here and spend a little bit of time with me this evening, learning about these products that have been life-changing for so many people and that are absolutely at the cutting edge of science and wellness. So I am Brenda Geary, your presenter this evening, and I have been a fan and a user of these products since August of 2011. My background prior to getting involved with, and becoming passionate about health and wellness was I was a VP of Human Resources. I did that for almost 20 years. I was very successful at it. I was always that healthy person until I wasn't healthy. And I think that's something that you guys can relate to, having a health crisis that may have had a significant impact on your health or your quality of life, or maybe if it wasn't you, it may be someone that you love, a family member or a close friend. So I was always that healthy person until I got sick. And when I got sick, I developed a really a significant number of autoimmune challenges that really impacted my quality of life, so much so that at my sickest, I was in bed 20 hours a day. I was on 24 prescription medications. And it's kind of interesting because I do have, let me see if I have it here. I do, I actually have the bag of pills here. And I keep the bag of pills just as a reminder of how far I've come. Does that make sense? It reminds me of how far I've come because I'm no longer on all of those meds. But at my sickest, I was on 24 meds. I was in bed 20 hours a day. I was in chronic pain. I had developed an itching disorder where literally from 2004 until probably September of 2011, I never ever stopped itching. I woke up one day in June of 2004 with hives, welts, rashes all over my body, never stopped itching. I was diagnosed with autoimmune urticaria, which just means itching of an unknown source. And the only thing that the doctors could do was they prescribed high-dose prednisone and a bunch of other meds to try to help get that itching under control. My immune system was further compromised, and I developed really debilitating fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome. I developed chronic vertigo, chronic nausea. I literally would lay in bed, and I would not even want to move my head even an inch, because if I did, the world would start spinning. I would vomit all the time, and it was hard to be Brenda. I'll just say that. It was really hard. I also developed short-term memory challenges where literally everything I would say, the minute it was out of my mouth, I would forget it. And at the time, I was a VP of Human Resources and a really big job. And you can't forget what you're saying, and you can't forget numbers and conversations. So I actually ended up taking a medical retirement because I could no longer do the job that I was hired to do. And that was really rough for me because I loved what I did. I love training. I love helping people. And so I left the corporate world to really focus in on my health. Just one second, let me mute this person here that just came on. Here we go. So I remember, I'm a person of faith. And so I remember it was August of 2011, and I was really struggling with my health because every day there were different symptoms that were taking precedence. The itching was horrible. The chronic fatigue was a 10 on a 10 scale. The fibromyalgia was a 10 on a 10 scale. That chronic itching was just horrible. And I just remember I would pray and I would try to negotiate with God, you guys. I would, like, hey, God, if you would make the itching less, I'll take the fibromyalgia pain. Or if you make the vertigo less and the nausea left, I'll take the itching. Because every day it was like a different hodgepodge of symptoms that were taking precedence. And I was just existing. And so I remember I prayed in August of 2011. And my prayer, oh, Linda, I don't want to cry. My prayer was simply, Lord, please send something into my life that will just help with my quality of life, even if it's just a little bit. Please send something into my life that will just help to minimize or lessen the symptoms even just a little bit. And literally 2 weeks later, my husband met a young man at a restaurant They got to talking. There was one seat, guys. There was one seat open in that restaurant, and this young, at the time, 24-year-old young man sat in the seat. And Randy, my husband, my husband is a retired police officer, and they started talking. And as they got into the conversation, Randy shared about having a sick wife at home and how he was the one that was doing everything. And Ryan, at the end of that conversation, said, I think I have something that could help your wife. If you're willing to watch an ABC primetime investigative report that features the product that I represent. And so Randy, who is normally a very skeptical person, he said yes. He said yes to taking a look at it. And I will be forever grateful that my husband said yes, because when I watched that ABC primetime report, there were pieces of it that really resonated with me. And I thought to myself, I have nothing to lose. I have everything to gain. I had already spent, I think I shared with Linda previously that I had spent over $300,000, you guys, on trying to get my health back, going to specialists, trying different treatments. And so I thought to myself, well, what if this could help? And it made all the difference. And so, in fact, I was sharing with Lane, it's not always one thing, right? There's never just one thing, but this thing made such a profound difference in my health. And since then, of course, the company has come out with other products that work at the cellular level. And I've just continued to get better and better and better. And I'll share with you guys that when I started the product, and of course, the FDA doesn't allow us to make claims, right? That we heal, cure, treat, or mitigate, et cetera. But when you can get at the root cause of what's causing a lot of health challenges, then the body knows what to do. The body does the work, right? You just have to give it the right nutrients, et cetera. So when I started the product, within 4 months, you guys, within 4 months, I was off of all 24 of these medications. That fibromyalgia pain that was a 10 was down to like a 2 or a 3. The chronic fatigue that was like a 10 was down to like a 2 or a 3. That itching that had never stopped since 2004 was gone. The chronic vertigo was gone. The chronic nausea was gone. And I was like, I'm alive, And I started sharing about this. And then 2 days before Thanksgiving in 2011, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. Both breasts, in my lymph nodes. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut, but I'm a person of faith. And so I said, you know what? I think the Lord just has a bigger story for me to tell, for me to experience. And so I went through chemotherapy, radiation therapy. I did some integrative approaches. And you guys, I'll tell you what, I grew up, I'm a military brat, one of 5 kids. And I grew up in a household where we didn't know about holistic health. No one ever talked about holistic health to us. So we grew up, when you go to the doctor says do X, Y, Z. We did what the doctor said because they were the experts. Since then, since becoming more educated, I absolutely believe that we are empowered. I do believe that there are so many amazing holistic therapies that we can actually use to heal our bodies. And so I used an integrative approach actually when I was going through chemotherapy, because there was a holistic oncologist that I had listened to, and she basically said that typically with chemo, they try to take you to the edge of death, right? To kill everything, even healthy cells. But she believed that there's no reason that you cannot try to optimize the immune system while you're going through chemotherapy. And so my goal was to optimize my health, was to optimize my immune system, because my mother died at the age of 52. And at the age of 52, she didn't have cancer, but she had had cancer 3 times before. And she had debilitating side effects from chemotherapy and from radiation therapy. And so I knew that if I was going to go through chemotherapy for myself, that I didn't want to come out the other side of that journey with, significant health challenges. So I'm grateful that I went through chemotherapy and radiation therapy in 2012, and it's 2024 now, and I have been cancer-free since then. So I'm very, very, very grateful. And I don't have a lot of the side effects and other health challenges that other cancer patients continue to have post-treatment. And I absolutely believe it was because of how I was taking care of my body during treatment. So that's that's a little bit about who I am. So because of my journey, I knew that everything that I went through my revelation to myself was that I went through everything that I went through so that I could show up and support people who have health challenges, so that I could be empathetic to someone else's journey. And since then, I have become a health coach. I am a certified hypnotherapist. And I'm currently actually working on receiving my holistic health practitioner certification. So I just knew that I went through everything so that I could see what I was supposed to be doing, which is really focus in on natural health and healing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my slide deck so I can talk to you about the products. Tonight is information. It's just information. If you have questions, I'm here to answer questions. Linda's here to answer questions. Cheryl will be available to answer questions. If it resonates, fantastic. If you've got additional questions, let us know. But I don't do hard sell. I just know that I am passionate because I know that there have been hundreds of lives, thousands and thousands of lives actually that have been impacted by these products. And so my job, one of my health coaches said this once, our job is to share, your job is to choose. And so tonight I'll be sharing some products, and then it's your job to choose, and with respect to anything that might resonate. So let me share my slide deck. Okay, you guys can see my slides?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So LifeVantage, we are called the activation company. And the reason we're the activation company is there's a difference. I'll be explaining to you about the difference between traditional supplementation and activation. Supplementation normally speaks to the fact that you're taking something to make up a deficiency, versus activation. The goal of our company is to turn on the systems in the body that as we age, there are systems in our body that decline. But we now know, leveraging the science of nutrigenomics, and that's simply using nutrition to impact how, excuse me, I'm about to sneeze. Nutrigenomics is the science of using plant-based nutrition to impact how our genes express. That's nutrigenomics. And so we're turning these systems back on, and then our body knows what to do. So sometimes when I share my story, people say, "Oh, you look so healthy." But I share these slides so that people can kind of get a feel for where I was in bed with my doggy dogs when I was so sick, in and out of the hospital constantly, on the meds, my cancer journey, my radiation journey, and I like to tell people, when I left my corporate job, I looked at the doctor and I said, "What do we do now?" Because now I'm no longer working. I'm thinking we're going to have a plan to get Brenda better, right? He says, "Well, there is nothing to do." Basically, the plan was go take meds, and that's the best you're going to be. And he basically said, if you get sicker, if we need to adjust your meds, that's what we'll do. So the plan was for me to just go and live my life, basically in bed. But I'm grateful that I said yes, because I said yes. Because I got my life back, because I got my health back, I now get to travel with my husband, who loves to travel. I get to spend time with my son and my grandson and his half brothers. I call them my bonus boys, my bonus sons. I get to travel with friends, and I get to speak and share my story on stages. Then I get to jump off of really high mountains in Turkey and just experience life. And so I'm grateful that I said yes. Oftentimes, I do like to share blood work because, blood work doesn't lie. One of the things that our product does, a flagship product, is that it significantly lowers inflammation. In fact, it's actually one of the most potent products that are all natural that a person can take to lower inflammation. It's actually, the flagship product has 7 US patents, and it's actually patented to lower inflammation. It's patented to lower CRP. C-reactive protein is a blood test that anyone can get. It's easy to ask your doctor for it. There's 2 CRP blood measurements. One is called CRP cardiac. It measures heart inflammation. It actually, you can see here where it says it measures your relative risk for a future cardiovascular event. On that blood test, 0 is good, 3 is high. 3 is high. When my doctor took this blood work in July of 2011, 1 month before I found out about the flagship product, my CRP was 12.4. Really, really crazy number, right? And then CRP, just one second, oopsie. CRP quantitative here that measures overall body inflammation. So when you think about people that have arthritis, you think about people that have other inflammatory autoimmune challenges, that's a fantastic blood test to measure that. And on that blood test, 0 is good, 4.9 is high. Mine was 15.3. So again, way, way, way out of the bounds of normal. So I started the product in August of 2011. And my doctor, who was a naturopathic doctor at the time, she measured my blood work again on November of the same year. So we go from July, not being on the product, starting the product in August, and then being the same blood test in November. And you'll notice that my CRP cardiac went from 12.4 down to 2.45. My cardiologist said that he had never, ever, ever seen a person's CRP go down that significantly. And then my CRP quantitative, or sometimes it's called, you guys, sometimes it's called high sensitivity. So if you ask your doctor for this blood test, they may know it as either quantitative or high sensitivity. But that blood test went from 15.3 down to 2.7. And so again, we know that inflammation is at the root cause of disease. So if we can lower that inflammation, which is what this product does so beautifully, that is super, super helpful. And the other thing that we know with this product is that for folks that have diabetes, for folks that have high blood sugar, et cetera, or either they're maybe pre-diabetes, that we consistently see A1Cs go down. So here you see my A1C was 5.7. I was in that pre-diabetic area, and just literally 4 months later, I was down to 5.6, and now I think I'm down to 5.2 when my doctor does my continued, my A1C numbers. So this is just some anecdotal, blood work data. Just again, not only do I feel great, but the numbers also share the story. So who is LifeVantage? We are a publicly traded company. We are debt-free. We actually, we're on the NASDAQ. We were actually featured in Newsweek magazine about maybe 4 months ago in its Life Sciences special edition. And that Life Sciences special edition that was on Newsweek was featuring companies who have science that is progressive, that is changing like the course of science. And so LifeVantage wasn't featured in that edition because we have supplements. They were looking at us because we are an activation company. A lot of science is going, the future of science is how can we activate these pathways to get them to work the way they did when you're healthier. And that's one of the reasons that we were featured in that edition. So we're solving problems. We're solving problems of individuals trying to manage the weight. We are solving problems of people that have low energy exhaustion. We're solving the problem of individuals that are experiencing chronic pain. And we're solving, and we are addressing and providing solutions that for people that are focused on anti-aging. I actually like to say healthy aging because we're all going to age. I want to age in a healthy fashion. So we do have some supplements like omega, like D3. We have a AM and PM vitamin formulation that the Linus Pauling Institute actually helped us to formulate. It actually works on our circadian rhythm. So the formulation for AM is working with your circadian rhythm for the morning, and the PM formulation is specifically formulated for what's happening with your circadian rhythm at night. Fantastic. We also have people that are, like that have trouble sleeping that absolutely love that Reset PM formulation. Because of what happened with our flagship product, Protandim NRF2, LSU, Louisiana State University, wanted to know what could lowering that inflammation, what could lowering that oxidative stress do for skin cancer. They actually have done 3 tests, 3 published peer-reviewed papers on PubMed on skin cancer, and they found that this product, the flagship product, breaks the link in skin cancer. It decreases the duplication and multiplication of skin cancer cells. So we're going to talk about that product in just a second. But because of the 3 studies that they did on the product, they said, can you take the science of what Protandim NRF2 does in the body and make a topical application of it? And so you'll see here that we do have a skincare regimen that is NRF2 for the skin. It is actually slowing down cellular aging from the skin, from the outside in, going 7 layers deep. So I briefly talked about the difference between activation versus supplementation. Again, activation is really focused on turning on the biological pathways to optimize the body's own ability to self-repair versus supplementing. And there is a need for specific supplements, but not as the only strategy. So where it all started, I mentioned that this young man had said to my husband, you know, he wanted us to watch this ABC Primetime Report. And so the genesis of the ABC Primetime Report is the company LifeVantage came out with a claim. And that claim is that the flagship product, Protandim NRF2, lowers oxidative stress, which is inflammation, which is cellular damage, by an average of 40% in 30 days. Doctors have known about oxidative stress, that cellular damage, but they've never said to you, hey, Lane, you should probably lower your oxidative stress, right? Or, hey, Claudia, you should probably lower your oxidative stress, because there hasn't been a solution for lowering that oxidative stress. So when LifeVantage came out with the claim that this product lowers that cellular damage, that inflammation, by an average of 40% in 30 days, they said there's no way that can be true. So they sent John Quinones to debunk the claim. And if you guys remember John Quinones, he's an Emmy Award-winning investigative reporter. He showed up at the company and he's talking to the main scientist, and he actually became a part of the human clinical study. On national TV, he gave his blood, they took his blood, and guess what happened? After 2 weeks, they tested his blood, and his oxidative stress on national TV was shown to be 45% reduction in just 2 weeks. Even much better than the claim of 30% and 40% in 30 days. So watching TV that night were people like you and I, but there were also doctors and researchers from major research institutions that heard that claim. They got their hands on the product so that they could do research on the diseases that they were interested in. And that literally is why we have over 28 published peer-reviewed research papers on PubMed. PubMed is an arm of the National Institute of Health. That's where published peer-reviewed research sits. And so to have 28 published papers on there with the gold standard that is peer-reviewed research is pretty exciting. So you see this red line here, right? All of us, we are the red line's going up. That's inflammation. That's that oxidative stress. And that line going up is equal to disease process. It makes us more susceptible to disease. But what they found in the study is that in every single person in that human study, it was the same. That oxidative stress was reduced by 40%. And even after 40 days, when they checked the blood, they couldn't tell the difference between the blood of an 80-year-old and a 20-year-old. So sometimes when I tell people about oxidative stress, they don't really understand what's that terminology. So I often do say inflammation, but it's so much more than that. You think of an apple, you cut it in half, you let it sit on the counter, it turns brown, it gets yucky, it oxidizes. That is literally the same process that's happening to the cells of our body. You see here a normal cell, it gets attacked by those free radicals and it becomes damaged, and that's what opens the door to disease and dysfunction. And that oxidative stress, if you look at this wheel here, you see that oxidative stress is linked to every organ function. I tell people to take a look at this circle, find some health challenges that you might have. And if it's not you, maybe a loved one, maybe it's your neighbor, maybe it's somebody that you know. But oxidative stress is linked at the front end of the disease process. And so what we do with this flagship product is we lower that inflammation, that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, and the benefits do accumulate up to 70% reduction in 90 days. So I tell people, don't stop using it because you want those benefits to accumulate. The other big discovery here was this. How many of you guys know, you can put it in the chat, if you know that we've been taught to take antioxidants to fight those free radicals, right? We've been taught that those antioxidants are really, really important. And they absolutely are, right? But just as we're not using dial-up phones anymore, just as we're not using the dial-up internet, scientific advancements they change, they change our understanding of what's possible. So there are two types of antioxidants. There are direct antioxidants that we take, and then there are indirect antioxidants or endogenous antioxidants that our bodies make. What we now know is that the antioxidants that we take in the form of vitamin C, vitamin E, our fruits and veggies, that they're not as effective at fighting that free radical damage as we need them to be, because one antioxidant molecule that you consume only will neutralize one free radical and then it's gone. Our body, so Dr. Joe McCord is the father of free radical biology. And he says that our bodies make 300 sextillion free radicals a day. And for context, that's 3 with 23 zeros. 3 with 23 zeros. That's 3,000 sextillion, right? Free radicals a day. So the one-to-one approach is not going to work, right? But when we turn on our body's own antioxidant enzymes, and our body has thousands of them, just one of our body's enzymes will neutralize 1 million free radicals every second per second. You see how much more powerful the strategy of activating your body's own enzymes is. So you want to eat your fruits and veggies for their vitamins and minerals, right? But when it comes to fighting that free radical damage, when it comes to fighting that inflammation, turning on your body's antioxidant system is much more powerful. So the product, it's all natural, it's plant-based. You see here that it's these 5 plant ingredients. It's lowering that oxidative stress. It's increasing glutathione production within your cells by 300%. Glutathione is the master antioxidant in the body. As we age, we produce less glutathione. A lot of times people will go to the doctors and they'll do IVs with glutathione pushes, but those have a short lifespan versus what if you could turn on your body's own production of glutathione? It's a much more powerful option for us. So this product also is activating, it's turning on your body's survival genes. It's turning on your anti-inflammatory genes, your detoxification genes, and your anti-fibrotic genes. It's turning all of those on, and it's supporting natural cellular repair. And this BSCG certification here, it means that athletes, professional athletes can take this product and not have to worry about testing for any performance enhancing drugs or elements. And so we do have Olympic athletes, we have professional athletes that take this because it helps with recovery. It helps with lowering that inflammation. And it's NSF certified. And what does that mean? There are a lot of companies. Have you ever heard that sometimes you have a bottle of product, but you don't necessarily know that you can trust that what's on the label is what's on the bottle? That's, you know what I mean? That what's in the bottle. But because a lot of companies do what's called skip batch testing. They'll test a batch that goes down the assembly line. A bunch of other products will go down the assembly line. Then they'll test another batch, maybe, who knows, 10, 15 batches down the line. You don't know what's going on in the middle. NSF certification means that every single batch that goes down the assembly line is tested. And it's not just tested for what's in the ingredients, but it's also tested for 28 other, characteristics, making sure that there's no particles, matter, et cetera, in the product. So this NSF certification is a big deal. And so sometimes people will say, well, Brenda, I take milk thistle, or I take turmeric, or I'm familiar with, green tea. If you'll see here, and the reason we have 7 US patents and 5 international patents is because it's actually the formulation, it's the recipe of the product. So you'll notice that it has very low amounts. These are absolutely below therapeutic levels. Sometimes I'll talk with acupuncturist, and the acupuncturist will say, well, gosh, Brenda, there's no way that can work. It's got so little bit of turmeric in it, et cetera. You need much, much more. But that's not how this product works. Because what happens is it's the recipe in the combination where it makes it 1,800 times more powerful, those sub therapeutic dosages. Make sense? So I mentioned that when the ABC Primetime Investigative Report aired, there were doctors and researchers. We have had this product studied by Ohio State University. They were interested in how this could help make those graft bypass the graft bypass last longer. Harvard was interested in Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. American Heart Association has actually studied the product, and they support it for heart health. In fact, Circulation Magazine actually published the results of one of their studies in Circulation Magazine, which is the premier journal for the American Heart Association. This university in Montreal was interested in what could lowering oxidative stress do for osteoarthritis. We've had the people, there's a clinical published study on ALS. Like I said before, LSU was interested in what could it do for lowering for skin cancer. And the other thing that they did was this, which was really interesting, was that some people, a lot of times when people have cancer, they'll take tamoxifen for 5 to 10 years after. Tamoxifen, I made a personal choice not to take it because it's got a lot of side effects. But Louisiana State University, they were looking at tamoxifen versus Protandim Nrf2 as a potential nutraceutical approach. And it was testing if as effective as the pharmaceutical. So I made a personal choice not to take it because I didn't want to take a risk with the side effects that come with tamoxifen. So the way that Protandim Nrf2 works is that it actually is, when we say Protandim Nrf2, it's because it's actually activating the Nrf2 pathway. And Louisiana and Washington State University said that activating that pathway is potentially the most extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And Washington State wasn't talking about Protandim. They were talking about activating the pathway. And we at LifeVantage activate the pathway in a way that nobody else is doing, and most powerfully, naturally. In that same study by Washington State University, nope, I don't have it here, but in that same study, they talked about, they give us a list of all these diseases and health challenges that they were studying, and it looks very similar to that circular graph that you guys looked at earlier. Pharmaceutical companies are chasing down the science of creating products to activate that pathway. The very first pharmaceutical product to activate that pathway that came to market was for multiple sclerosis. During the study, it was called BG12. The market name is called Tecfidera. It's about $54,000 a year. And what was interesting is this: the pharmaceutical company, Biogenetic, paid this doctor to take a look at how powerful their pharmaceutical Nrf2 activator was. He compared it to a couple other formulations, and not related to the company at all, but somehow he knew about Protandim. So he included that in his study. And then in his results, he says, interestingly, Protandim, a dietary supplement consisting of herbal ingredients, was the most potent inducer and therefore may be the most suited as a therapeutic strategy. The company cannot make a claim, right? But here you have a researcher paid by the pharmaceutical company that his findings indicate that Protandim was the most potent indicator. And we do have a lot of individuals with MS that successfully take the Protandim Nrf2. There's another one that recently came on the market. It is for Alzheimer's. And when the science has looked at their product versus our product, once again, our product is a more potent activator even for Alzheimer's. Then the next challenge that folks have as we are aging is the challenge of mitochondrial dysfunction. Our mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell. As we age, our mitochondria become damaged. If you look at the slide on the right-hand side, you'll see these are all diseases that are known to be significantly impacted by mitochondrial dysfunction. A lot of neurological challenges, cancer for sure, diabetes, autism, so many different things, right? So the company said, is there a way that we can activate and have your body produce more healthy mitochondria. And they came out with a product called Protandim NRF1. And again, Protandim NRF1 is referring to the fact that we're activating the NRF1 pathway, and that's the pathway responsible for healthy mitochondria. So we are activating that pathway once again with a product that's all plant-based, all natural, and that product is telling your body to make healthy mitochondria, and it's telling your body to help repair damaged mitochondria. So we're increasing cellular energy. And then the next pathway, so the company really focuses on what are these key pathways that are really the pillars of healthy aging as it relates to cellular wellness. So we have the NRF2 pathway, which is about oxidative stress. We have the NRF1 pathway, which is about our mitochondria. And then the third theory of aging is what's called the sirtuin theory of aging. Our bodies make sirtuins. Those are our longevity genes. You think about the telomeres, right? And they shorten. So some people will do the NAD IV infusions, right? They're $1,000, if not more, and they take a long time. But they have a short lifespan. We found that using 4 specific plant products that we can actually turn on our body's own production of NAD, resulting in more sirtuins. So we actually are increasing our body's own production of sirtuins by 100%. Naturally. So it's helping to support longevity. It's helping to support our body's inflammatory response, mental focus, et cetera, et cetera. There's a really amazing heart health study that's also linked to this product, right? So one of the things that the company likes to do is to say, okay, we have these individual products, right? Because you'll notice that all of our products are really combination of different formulations of products, right? Of ingredients. So the company said, we know that Protandim NRF2, it's powerful by itself. We know that Protandim NRF1 is powerful by itself. And we know that NAD is really powerful by itself. The company wanted to know, is there a benefit, a health benefit for a person taking all 3? Is there an exponential benefit, right? And you can see that when they did the science, when they did the study, they found that it's just as exponential. And so the Protandim Tri-Synergizer is patented. You'll notice here that when we say that Protandim NRF2 reduces that inflammation, that oxidative stress by 40% in 30 days, guess what? When you take the 3 of them together, you're reducing that inflammation, that oxidative stress by 73% in 30 days. When we say that we're impacting a healthy immune response system, a healthy inflammatory response, instead of doing it by 50%, we're now doing it by 838%. So there's a huge benefit for a person to activate to use all 3. Just so you know, as a holistic wellness professional, these 3 products together are really, really powerful. And in my experience, I do not recommend these 3 to be taken all at once by a new person that has health challenges. It's too strong. Have you guys ever heard of the detox response, like Herxheimer, where it's like a cleansing effect? Well, the Herxheimer, if a person that's really, really sick that takes this, is not pleasant. And what I like to do, because I know that when I started taking the Protandim NRF2, no one said, Brenda, you might have a healing detox effect. It was not pleasant. So because of what I experienced, I know that I like to coach people on how to take these products so that I ease them into not having that healing effect that can be uncomfortable. So typically, if a person wants to take these 3, I'll typically have them start on Protandim NRF2. After they've taken the Protandim NRF2 for several days or maybe even a week or whatever, then I'll say, okay, now let's add NRF1. We'll add NRF1 slowly because there's a huge benefit to that mitochondrial product, you guys. Once I get feedback from them that they're doing well with the 2, only then will I add the NAD product. But I never, ever recommend the 3 for a person that has health challenges. It's just too much It's too strong for their bodies, okay? So if you have a person that wants to do these three, because there's a huge benefit to taking all three of them, I say go slow. And I always want to work with my clients on how to take these products, okay? I'm always here to answer questions on how to take these three. The next pathway or the next challenge that the company wanted to activate was this. We know that as we age, we lose collagen. We actually lose half of our collagen by the time we're, like in our 50s, 60s, right? And collagen is the glue that holds all of our systems together. Collagen has a reputation for just being about, people think about it as hair, nails, and skin, but it's so much more than that, you guys. And so the company said, well, can we activate the body's own collagen production? And that's what this product does. It does three things. I like to use the acronym ARM, A-R-M. We're activating the body's own production of collagen. Yes, we're replenishing somewhat, but we're also maintaining, because this product here is able to down-regulate the gene that's responsible for collagen degradation in the body. So you're making new collagen, but you're also maintaining the collagen that you're making by turning down the gene that destroys collagen. So again, collagen is not just about what's above the waterline. It's so much more. Tissue regeneration, bone regeneration, muscle mass, wound healing, joint flexibility, and so much more. And a lot of collagens on the market have maybe 2 or 3 collagen peptides. This product has 10 collagen peptides. So we're going to go after more of the things that your body needs with the 10 collagen peptides versus the 3. So here you see this graph that just basically shows you how collagen decreases in our bodies as we age. And so I'm 60. I look at this chart and I say to myself, whoa, right? So I'm very thankful that I am taking collagen that, again, is not just supplementing, but it's turning on my body's own production. So the collagen by itself in an 8-week study was shown to increase collagen density from 30% to 68.5. You can see here how that collagen density was improved, right? You have more green and more yellow, right? Less black. The company then said, well, once again, in the science, does 1 + 1 equal more, right? So they looked at the power of the collagen and they said, if we were to put that NRF2 protein lowering inflammation together with the collagen, is there an exponential benefit? And instead of increasing collagen density by 68.5, the two together increase collagen density by 100%. You know, that blood catalase is another super important antioxidant enzyme in the body. Protandim by itself increases that blood catalase antioxidant enzyme by, I think, like 30% or so. But amazingly enough, when it's combined with the liquid collagen, it increases that super antioxidant enzyme in the body by 202%. Remember, we talked about how glutathione is increased by 300%. Now, all of a sudden, another major antioxidant enzyme is increased by 202%. Why liquid? You guys, I talked to a lot of pharmacists, and I remember talking to a pharmacist, and the minute I said collagen, she's like, don't talk to me about collagen. She goes, those powdered collagens, they don't work. The molecules are too large. They can't penetrate the cell. They're too large. They get eaten up by the stomach acid. And so I said to her, well, guess what? Ours is not a powdered collagen. It's a liquid collagen. It's hydrolyzed. Powdered collagens, you get maybe 10 to 30% absorption rate. Again, it's because it gets eaten up by the stomach acid and the molecule itself is too big to get penetrated. Versus a liquid collagen, you get 90% absorption. It's hydrolyzed, meaning it's chopped up into really small pieces, making it much more biodegradable. And so what else? The other thing that's really important is what's not in it. No added sugar, no artificial sweeteners, non-GMO, it's dairy-free, gluten-free, it's soy-free. It's a very clean product. And so what does it look like for a person to get on the liquid collagen? And I like to say this, I'm showing you guys some before and after photos, but I say to people, if this is what's happening on the outside of the body, imagine what's happening on the inside of the body. A lot of the doctors that I work with, they say to us, the reason people see these dramatic results on the outside is because that's what, you know, that's what is easiest to fix, right? Hair, skin, nails. But truly, I like to ask folks what's happening on the inside. So here's an individual that on the collagen started in February 2024. And here you see such a difference in her, June of 2024. Here's Betty. She lives here in San Diego. You can see her beginning photo. She just kept getting healthier and healthier and healthier. And I tell people, don't get, you know, again, like all the other products, the benefits do accumulate. This is Dr. Melody. She's my personal doctor. Dr. Melody's mom, she had a skin cancer issue, and Dr. Melody was frustrated because she was having trouble with that scar healing. Well, she started her mother on the collagen when it came out, and you can see here, not only did it start to heal, but look at what happened for the rest of her face when you look at the wrinkling here. This is a friend of mine. His name is David. He lives in Santee, and he was diagnosed with skin cancer. And you see here, what with his treatment, he had just almost finished treatment. And then he reached out to me and he says, hey, Brenda, I need that collagen of yours. He was already on the Trisynergizer. So then he added the collagen, and you can see here his results here in 35 days. Sometimes people think, oh, only women are worried about collagen. They're not. Men are worried about it as well. They're interested in their skin as well, right? So this is Mark, and this is another friend. And it was interesting because her husband's like, I don't think that collagen's doing anything for me, honey. And his wife said, well, look at this. What I say to people that start the collagen is I really recommend that you take photos. Take photos of your face, take photos of your neck, arms, legs. We've seen so many photos. And sometimes when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we don't see the changes happening. But then when we put photos together, then you can really see the changes. So I always recommend anyone that on the collagen to take some before and after photos. Here's a lady here, and I can't remember her name, but you see her here, and it almost looks like that's a mother and a daughter. And then you see this lady here. I mean, just look at her skin, you guys. And Dr. Brimhall did a webinar, and he says that this is an individual whose body was screaming for hydration, and collagen helps to hydrate the body. Then another activator that we have is for your brain. This activator is a neurotransmitter. It helps with mental focus, mental concentration, mental clarity. It helps to reduce brain fog. It increases positive mood. It's called Axio. And again, it's a very, very clean product. And so we have a lot of doctors that use it when they're having to do charting. We have a lot of athletes that use it. We have a lot of parents that use it. We have a lot of, like I said, athletes that use it as a pre-workout or a post-workout. And you guys, again, we're not allowed to make claims, right? But we have so many kids on the spectrum. We have adults on the spectrum that just thrive with the combination of Axio and Protandim NRF2 and the NRF1. This example here is Dr. Brett's nephew. He is on the spectrum, right? He has ADHD. And this was his handwriting sample before the product. Here's his handwriting sample 1 week later on NRF2 and Axio, just the ability for him to focus in. Here's another little guy where you see how he was coloring, just using one color out of the lines. He gets on the product, Axio and NRF2, and look at how he's making choices. This is Adrian. I want you to look at her eyes. She was so heavily medicated. She's on the spectrum, nonverbal. She was so heavily medicated. She was head banging. They couldn't figure out why. Dr. Nancy got her on the product. She stopped head banging. They found out that the products were just making her stomach, tearing her stomach apart. So they were able to wean her off a lot of the products, and look at her eyes, how they're alive. It's just exciting to see what happens with these kids and these young adults. And then we introduced the mitochondria product, right? Mitochondria. And that was in 2016. And you can see how she's even more vibrant, and she's no longer nonverbal. She's no longer nonverbal. And so it's pretty amazing what can happen. And so we wonder, like, how does this happen? Why is there such a benefit? And so Dr. Brimhall and other health professionals that are experts in the world of autism, they say that in order to impact autism at the cellular level, we have to lower inflammation, we have to lower oxidative stress, we have to increase glutathione, we have to improve mitochondrial function, and we have to improve gut health. So there are very specific products here that I've mentioned that are doing those for the kids. And that is why we're seeing the results that we're seeing, because we're able to lower that oxidative stress, reduce inflammation, increase glutathione, and therefore we're having these types of results. And now the latest product that's an activator is receiving a lot of notoriety right now in the press, because a lot of people right now are taking GLP-1 agonists. Have you heard of Ozempic? Have you heard of semaglutides, Wegovy, Mounjaros, right? So those are all products that initially the intention of those products was to help lower A1C. Initially, it was for people that have diabetes, but what they found is that it also helps with weight loss. And so there's this craze right now of people taking the Ozempics of the world for weight loss, right? And the goal being that they're trying to activate the GLP-1 hormone. GLP-1 hormone, we naturally make it in our body. It's responsible for so many things in our body. But the focus right now in the media has been around weight loss. Now, the thing about the GLP-1 products that are on the market right now is they're not actually activating the hormone in your body. They're called agonists because they're mimicking the behavior of the hormone. But here's what they don't tell you is when a person takes those injectables, it actually is lowering your body's own GLP-1 hormone. So when a person gets off of those injectables, they're in worse shape. They start eating more because they don't have the actual GLP-1 hormone sending a signal to their brain. I'm full, I'm satisfied, I don't have cravings, I've had enough to eat, right? So the role of the GLP-1 hormone is it's that signaling that communicates from your gut to your brain, telling your brain that you're full, that you don't have food noise, that you're not always focused on food. People that are severely overweight, when doctors do research on them or like test their blood, they hardly have any GLP-1 hormone. So a lot of times when people have shame around eating and around food and they feel like they don't have control, it's not always our fault, you guys, because if you don't have GLP-1 hormone, that signaling isn't happening, right? So there's no signaling happening that I'm full. So the company came out with a product that actually activates your body's actual production of the GLP-1 hormone. It's the very first product on the market in a human clinical trial to do that. And it does it by 140%. So there was a 12-week human clinical trial, and they were able to prove that we're activating that GLP-1. So here are some of the benefits of GLP-1 activation. We're helping, of course, with weight loss, with weight maintenance. There's a lot of science coming out now about how GLP-1 going down is linked to Alzheimer's, lower cognition. And so GLP-1, again, like I said before, it has many more benefits than just about weight loss. So it has brain cognition and memory benefits. It has, of course, gut health benefits, heart health benefits. Do you know that there are heart patients that are prescribed Ozempic? And they're not prescribed Ozempic because they have a weight issue or because they have diabetes. It's because of the heart health benefits. So imagine being able to have a person that has a heart health challenge that can now take an all-natural form and get away from the synthetic injectable. It helps with insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome, and especially for us ladies and men as well, but hormone balancing, especially for perimenopause, menopausal women. Those are all key benefits of GLP-1 hormone, the actual hormone. So in the 12-week study, they found that this all-natural product increases our body's own production of that GLP-1 by 140%. It outperforms the injectables. That people in that study on average lost 9 pounds in 8 weeks and up to 25 pounds in 12 weeks. One of the things that we see consistently with people that are on the injectables is that they lose a lot of muscle. You guys have heard of Ozempic face, so like that crepey skin. Well, they found that 100% of the people that lost weight in the study maintained muscle. They found that 27% there was a 27% reduction in visceral fat, a 5% reduction in body fat, and it's now patent pending. They also got anecdotal feedback from the 60 participants. There was a control group that was 10 people. The other 50 people were on the product. They said that 95% felt like they had reduced sugar cravings, which is huge. I know that for myself, I'm a huge chocolate person, a huge sugar and salt person, and my cravings for those have gone away significantly. They found that 90% are eating less at meals, choosing smaller portions, that they have a better relationship with food, that they felt less hungry. And so just huge benefits. And so again, I like to say that there's so many benefits for activating that actual hormone. And in that human trial, you can see here just a couple examples of the individuals that were on the trial. There you see the baseline, and then you see the results after 12 weeks. Here you have a couple of the gentlemen that were on it, and just see the power, how powerful that reduction, especially for men in the waist area. And then they had a consumer trial. So they had the clinical trial that was 12 weeks. And then they started giving the products to regular people on the street, right? That were actually LifeVantage consultants. They earned the ability to get the product. And you can see here some of the folks where, this is Kimberly. She's a friend. And she was able to, she was down 15 pounds in 7 weeks, 4 inches off her waist. This is Sean, another friend. And these are all people, you guys, that are very health conscious. Kimberly has a very, very similar health journey to my own. She actually had long-term COVID where she couldn't smell anything for over 2 years after she had COVID, and everything tasted putrid to her. This is Shauna, and now she's doing so well. This is Shauna. You can see her journey. Shauna says now that she feels empowered, that food doesn't control her. You see here, this is my friend, Carrie. And again, she's thankful that she took her photos because she's not a person that was actively trying to lose weight, but this goes after visceral fat. It's going after the visceral fat. So even though she didn't go into it with the expectation, because for her, she has had health challenges that have resulted in some memory challenges for her. I have memory challenges after chemo, you guys. So I do sometimes struggle to find words. My goal with taking this product is first and foremost for my brain health, but secondarily to lose some more weight. Carrie, the same thing. Carrie has had a number of autoimmune challenges that have impacted her brain. So that was the main thing. But then in these photos, you can see that even just at less than 30 days, it going after the visceral fat. The same here with this individual. This is Marcy. This is Sean Poe again. His focus was not weight loss, but he wanted to lower his BMI. And so he was able to go from 18.5 to 16.2. Here's Tyler. Tyler is a guy that just loves to eat, and he loves to have his beverages. And he says, hey, I'm your average guy. And so you can see here his results. The same thing with these other folks. So you guys, as I end here, I just want to let you guys know that, with regards to these products, you can be a customer or you can become a consultant, whatever it is that you want to do. If you just want to use the products, or if you want to use the products and also share the products. For individuals that want to become a customer, we have lots and lots of different product combinations. Here are 3 examples, just because of the fact that we came out with the MB enhanced system, the GLP-1 system. For sure. There's actually a research study right now that's ongoing of the combination of the GLP-1 system with Protandim, because again, Protandim is the foundational product that everyone at minimum should be on. Then there's the Healthy Weight Pro Stack, and then the Premium Stack. This is another product combination that has become very, very popular because you get the NRF2, you get the benefits of the GLP, and you're getting that collagen, and you're getting the enhanced benefits of this, plus this right here. Or if you're looking for any other product combinations, we can help make a recommendation for you. Then sometimes people will say, well, I want to take the products, but it's kind of pricey. Well, if a person sells the Protandim NRF2 and the collagen to just 7 friends, then they're able to make enough to pay for their own product. Or what if a person wants to make just a little bit more? 27 friends, 27 people that you may know or may be referred to just on that NRF2 and the GLP-1, that's $1,400 a month in additional income coming into your home. Then sometimes people say, well, what does it look like if I get a friend to do exactly what I'm doing? You with 27 people, a friend with 27 people, that's an extra $2,200 a year for you. And if it's you and 2 people, that's an extra $30,000 a year that you're bringing in to supplement your income. So we tell people, start where it makes sense, whether you just want to be a customer of the product, a user of the products, or whether you want to make a little bit of extra income. Also, here's another example of what it looks like simply if a person is just sharing the GLP-1, not even NRF2. So 16 people on the GLP-1 system is an extra income of $627 for a person. 32 people on the GLP-1 system just by itself, not with the NRF2, is an extra $1,459. And sometimes people say, well, I don't want to build a team. That is why we have the affiliate program, which is simply sharing your website with people, being an affiliate, and getting paid up to 40% back on the products that people are using from your website. You don't have to build a team. If a person wants to become a consultant, there are about 8 different enrollment combination packages that a person can choose. Here I have just 3 examples for folks to take a look at. There's the Business Builder Pack, where it's got all the products that a person can sample, just so that if they're talking to people, they'll say, yes, I've, like right now I'm drinking the Axio, I use the skincare, et cetera, but that way a person can have their own experience. There's a packet that's $350. There's another packet that's $250. There's another, I think that $250 package is the smallest packet that a person can sign up on. And then there's some other combinations as well. I think that's it. So I just want to say thank you for joining me this evening. Thank you for your attention. Does anyone have any questions? You're welcome to unmute yourself if you have any questions that I can answer for you at this time. Oh, Lane, did you have a question?
No, it was really great. Tons of information, very clear. It's great.
Awesome. Thank you
And the
for
visuals were very helpful, but it's great. Sounds
awesome.
like
Awesome.
yeah.
And I'm going to get this replay because I have been recording it. I'm going to get the replay to Linda and to Cheryl. So if anyone wants the replay, because I know I went through a lot of information, I know I went through the slides quickly, but if anyone has any interest in watching the replay, just ask Linda or Cheryl for it and you'll be able to get it into your hands, okay? Anything else? Any other questions? Thank you so much, Claudia, for being with us this evening. And also for Lindy and Ryan. So you guys, thank you again for your attention. You're very welcome. And I'll get the replay to Linda and Cheryl. And if you have any questions, my number is 858-353-7627. That's 858-353-7627. You're welcome to text me or call me directly and I can answer your questions as well. Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.
There we go. Stop recording.